They posted a video by Sam Hyde that I think is an excerpt from something maybe that he recorded a little while ago. It's part of the one where he's sitting behind what looks like a really big microphone, and I remember it was the same. I think it's cut from the same longer video where he talks about doctors and his distrust of them and his experience with them being groped by one of them one time, and so forth. So this is Sam really going on about stuff that I think is really important, and I'm going to give the link to it here, not to be even more of a Sam Hyde suck up, or leave myself accused of being a Sam Hyde suck up any more than I already am open to that accusation, just because I really think he does nail it in this particular monologue. It does, and here's what I'm going to say. Just you can watch Sam's video. I don't think you'll be disappointed for what he has to say about the sort of people, the debunkers, the conspiracy debunkers, and how they function, and how they're the various ways in which they are intellectually disingenuous. It's quite good, quite insightful. I wanted to add to what Sam is saying in that video by noting something here, or highlighting something, which is what you often find amongst the so-called debunkers, amongst people who are writing these articles for The Atlantic or for, I don't know, for Vox or BuzzFeed. I don't know if they even really exist that much anymore, but Salon, all these crap sites, all these terrible, sites that would the world would be so much better off if they all just died overnight. I'm not saying I wish death on the people there, just the sites themselves. If they all just disappeared, because they serve no good function or good purpose at all. But the way in which they commonly attack the notion of dissident thought, whether they call it far right, whether they call it white supremacy, whether they call it conspiracy theory, whatever it is, the way in which they attack it is really quite schizophrenic. And it's an interesting thing to note, because they want to occupy two different tracks simultaneously. And they can't, those two tracks, you've got to stay in either in one track or the other in order for your argument to make sense. But the first track, the one that they spend a lot of time on, is that this is just intellectually bankrupt. These people are just crackpots. They're just crazy. There's no point in trying to talk about the ways in which they're wrong, because it's like trying to argue with a madman. Why would you even bother? And since they're mad, since they're crazy, we might as well just either feel sorry for them or laugh at them, and mock them for their crazy, kooky nonsense. And of course, that gets them out of having to wrestle with anything. That gets them out of having to say, here's why the conspiracy theorists are wrong about Wayfair. Here's why the conspiracy theorists are wrong about Pizzagate. Here's why the conspiracy theorists are wrong about the Nord Stream pipeline. whatever the hell it is. They don't have, it's like, well, we don't really have to, like, there's no point in arguing with them. They're just crazy. But then they want to go on the other track. They want to occupy another track and say, but the thing is, these aren't just a bunch of crazy cranks. This is what thousands, hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Americans actually believe right now. And so they get into this alarmist mode where it's like, oh my God, people watch Joe Rogan, in the millions, or they they watch Russell Brand, or they whatever whoever they target, whoever they target as the latest really popular or most popular, most conspicuous example of this kind of person or this kind of thinking that they want to just cast aspersions against without really even addressing. Because if they had to address it, it would become obvious that there is no substantive response. At least not one I've ever seen. I've never seen them give a substantive response to these kinds of things. So if they were just to stay in the lane of, oh, these people are kooky crazy, but it's kind of sad, it's kind of funny, it's kind of sad, so we can laugh at them, but we can also pity them. But then it's like, wait a minute, a whole lot of people believe this stuff, and they're making headway in the culture. They're getting their ideas are getting put out there, and people are believing them. So, clutch your pearls, wring your hands. What do we do? What do we do? What do we do? And then it sort of, I to me, it's like this is the mode they have to get in to justify censorship, which they never call censorship, of course. They never call it censorship. They say it's, they talk about, well, we need to correct misinformation. We need to be vigilant about making sure that these groups, because they prey on the vulnerable, so suddenly they're not just these sad kooks and cranks, but they're like evil parasites who prey upon the vulnerable, and they find people out there who aren't doing well, and they give them, and they say to them, here's where your here's where your scapegoat should be. And they groom them. They're grooming them. Just like I got accused of grooming because I showed up at maybe this is, I don't know, this is a side note that maybe doesn't interest too many people here, but it's something that occurs to me when I showed up at Virgin Fest in Atlanta, the so-called incel core concert. I just showed up there to because I was interested and to record what was going on and to talk to people, and because it was interesting to me. But of course, the way that Antifa responded to my being there was to say, "Oh, he's there because he's looking out for prey. He's trying to find people to young impressionable people to prey upon." So something's got to be done about that, and so they can't just stay in one lane or the other. They can't just say they're cranks, and boy, they sure believe stupid stuff. And they can't, but they also can't just stay in the oh my god, this is crazy. This is they're spreading their cancerous ideas everywhere. We've got to do something about them. Their ideas are going mainstream. Well, which is it? They're it's a bunch of cranks, or it's a sophisticated network of evildoers, evil thinkers. Um, you know, and something else that they do a lot is to say things like the most frightening thing about blah 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 is that he seems so normal. They do that so much. They stoop to that kind of like, um, if they're doing a profile on somebody accused of being far right, or a conspiracy theorist, or whatever other bad thing. They start off by saying the most the a meeting with blah blah blah. The thing that threw me off the most was just how normal and nice he was, and that makes him even more insidious. It's like, yeah, if he just came out and was like just this absolute maniac, um, then I could just say, oh well, he's a maniac, and at least he's showing his maniacal proclivities. But oh, he seems like a nice guy. He seems normal. Like I just don't know what to think about this. Um, and so then the normalness of the person, or the seeming normalness of the person, becomes a reason to hate and fear and despise him even more, because he seems normal. Like he could just blend in. He could meet your family and just blend in, and they might all think, oh, he's a nice guy. They would know that he's somebody who ought to be strung up and and uh, and bashed over the head for promoting all of these terrible ideas. Because he doesn't come across like an inmate who's escaped an asylum. So that's just another tack that they use. They're very very predictable. I am always struck by the debunkers, how thin, like what thin gruel they offer. They never, when it came to P-gate, they never said anything. They never refuted anything. They never debunked anything factually. They just said, well, it's all a lie, it's not true. And the same thing with the Wayfair the questions people had about what was happening on Wayfair, and on down the line, going all the way to people who are against the vax and what have you. This is just the way that they behave. This is the way that they. These are the kind of arguments that they engage in, and it's useful to note just how how contradictory their claims are. If it's bad, if these are bad people who are having a real influence everywhere and they're evil, then why spend so much time mocking them and saying they're kooky and laughing at them? If they're that bad, then it's no laughing matter. Yet they want to be scornful. They want to be haughty and scornful, and they want to laugh at the people who won't go along with their program. They want to mock and belittle them, but at the same time they want to portray them as villainous. Anyway, just a few observations on this rainy day in Georgia. Hopefully you found this somewhat interesting. Thanks for watching.